What happens when a beloved morning television host comes face to face with royalty gone rogue? In just 41 seconds, one shocking comment would transform a routine interview into the most explosive television moment of the year, leaving viewers stunned and a guest being escorted off set in disgrace. The This Morning studio was buzzing with its usual energy that Tuesday morning. Deeley, the show's warm and professional host, had welcomed thousands of guests over her career, always maintaining her signature grace under pressure. Today's guest was supposed to be different, special even. Meghan Markle had agreed to appear on the program to discuss her latest charity initiative, a cause close to her heart involving children's literacy program. Kat settled into her chair, script in hand, ready to conduct what she assumed would be another straightforward interview. The cameras rolled, the familiar This Morning theme music faded, and Kat flashed her genuine smile to the audience. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to This Morning. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Meghan Markle, who's here to talk about her wonderful new project supporting reading programs for underprivileged children. Meghan, thank you so much for being with us today. Meghan shifted in her seat, her posture already suggesting something wasn't quite right. Instead of the warm response viewers expected, her reply carried an edge that immediately caught Kat off guard. Well, Kat, I have to say, I'm surprised by how small this studio is. I mean, in America, our morning shows have much grander setups. This feels quite, well, modest for what I was expecting. Kat's smile flickered for just a moment, but her professionalism kicked in instantly. She had dealt with difficult guests before, and she knew how to navigate these waters with grace. Oh well, we like to think of This Morning as having a cozy, intimate feel that really connects with our viewers at home. It creates such a lovely atmosphere for conversations like ours today. Now tell us about this literacy program that's so important to you. But Meghan wasn't ready to move on. She glanced around the set with obvious disappointment, her expression making it clear she felt this appearance was somehow beneath her. I suppose different countries have different standards. Anyway, yes, the literacy program. It's something I've been passionate about since long before I became a public figure. I've always believed in giving back, unlike some people who just talk about charity work for the cameras. The comment hung in the air like a challenge. Kat's eyebrows raised slightly, but she maintained her composure, choosing to focus on the positive aspects of what Meghan was saying. That's wonderful that you're so committed to the cause. Can you tell our viewers more about how the program works? I understand you're working with schools across several communities. Yes, well, it's quite complex actually. I don't expect everyone to understand the intricacies of what we're doing. It requires a certain level of sophistication to grasp the full scope of our impact. We're not just handing out books like some basic charity drive. Kat's smile was becoming more strained, but she pressed on, determined to keep the interview on track and give Meghan every opportunity to share something meaningful with the audience. I'm sure our viewers would love to hear about the specific communities you're helping. Are these programs running in areas you have a personal connection to? Personal connection? Meghan's tone sharpened noticeably. Kat, I think you're missing the bigger picture here. This isn't about personal connections or feel-good stories for morning television. This is about real change, the kind of systemic transformation that most people in media don't have the vision to understand. The studio atmosphere grew tense. Camera operators exchanged glances, and even the usually bustling crew had gone quiet, sensing something was building between the two women on screen. Kat took a breath, her years of experience telling her to redirect once more before things escalated further. Of course, and I think our viewers would really appreciate hearing about that vision. What specific changes are you hoping to see? Frankly, Kat, I'm not sure your audience is ready for that level of conversation. No offense, but daytime television tends to cater to a certain demographic that prefers simple, digestible content. What we're doing requires a more sophisticated understanding of social justice and educational reform. The insult was barely veiled, and Kat's professionalism was being tested in ways she hadn't experienced in years of broadcasting. Her voice remained steady, but there was a new firmness to it. I think you might be surprised by our viewers, Meghan. They're incredibly engaged and care deeply about important issues. Many of them are teachers, parents, and community leaders themselves. Perhaps you could share some concrete examples of how your program is making a difference. Examples? Meghan laughed, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. Kat, this isn't a school presentation. I'm not here to spoon-feed information to people who should already understand the importance of what we're doing. If your viewers need everything explained in simple terms, maybe they're not the audience for this kind of work. The comment landed like a slap. Kat's smile finally disappeared completely, replaced by a look of genuine disbelief. She had given Meghan multiple opportunities to course correct, multiple chances to engage with the show and its audience respectfully, but instead found herself watching a guest actively insult the very people who had tuned in to hear her speak. Meghan, I have to say, I'm quite taken aback. Our viewers are intelligent, caring people who deserve respect, not condescension. If you're not interested in sharing your work with them in a meaningful way, perhaps we should reconsider how to use our remaining time. Reconsider? Meghan's voice rose. Are you actually questioning my approach here? Do you have any idea who you're speaking to? Kat's jaw tightened at the question. The implication was clear, and it was exactly the kind of entitled behavior that made her blood boil. She had spent years building her reputation as a fair, respectful interviewer, and she wasn't about to let anyone, regardless of their title or status, treat her or her audience with such blatant disrespect. I know exactly who I'm speaking to, Meghan. I'm speaking to a guest on my show who seems to have forgotten that she agreed to come here to discuss a charity program, not to insult the people who are excited to hear about your work. Your show? Meghan's voice dripped with disdain. Kat, let's be honest about what this is. This is a daytime chat show that covers celebrity gossip and cooking segments. I'm doing you an enormous favor by appearing here at all. In America, I would be on the major networks, speaking to audiences who actually matter in terms of influence and cultural impact. The studio fell dead silent. Even the camera operators seemed to freeze, unsure whether they should keep rolling or cut to commercial. Kat's face flushed, not with embarrassment, but with pure indignation. She had interviewed prime ministers, A-list celebrities, and global leaders, always with the same respect and professionalism. Never had a guest been so openly hostile and dismissive. Meghan, I have to stop you right there. The people watching this show do matter. They're teachers who dedicate their lives to educating children. They're parents working multiple jobs to support their families. They're volunteers who give their time to causes they believe in. If you can't see the value in speaking to them, then perhaps you've lost sight of what charity work is really about. Lost sight? Meghan stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. Are you seriously going to lecture me about charity work? Do you have any idea what I've sacrificed, what I've given up to dedicate my life to making a difference? Kat remained seated, her voice steady but firm. I know that real charity work starts with respect and humility, not with talking down to the very people you claim to want to help. Respect? Humility? Meghan's voice was climbing toward a shout. I gave up everything, Kat, everything. My privacy, my freedom, my family relationships, all to serve others. And what do I get? I get questioned by morning television hosts who think they know better than someone who has actually lived at the highest levels of public service. Meghan, please sit down. Let's try to have a civil conversation about your work. Civil? There's nothing civil about the way you've been treating me since I walked into this cramped little studio. You've been condescending from the moment I mentioned that American studios have higher production values. You can't handle the truth that this show is small time compared to the platforms I'm used to. Kat's patience finally reached its breaking point. Her voice remained controlled, but there was steel in it now. The truth, Meghan, is that you came on this show to promote a children's literacy program, and instead, you've spent the entire time insulting our studio, our audience, and our country. If American platforms are so superior, I have to wonder why you're here at all. Because my publicist thought it would be good exposure, obviously. Though clearly that was a mistake. I should have known better than to waste my time on a show that can't appreciate the caliber of guests they're fortunate enough to have. The words hit the studio like a bomb. Crew members stood with their mouths open. Kat felt her face burn with anger, but her voice remained remarkably steady. Fortunate? Meghan, every guest who comes on this show is treated with respect and given a platform to share something meaningful. But that respect goes both ways. You've shown nothing but contempt for this show, for our viewers, and frankly, for basic human decency. Human decency? That's rich coming from someone who makes a living off celebrity gossip and lifestyle fluff. At least I'm trying to change the world. What exactly is your contribution to society, Kat? Asking famous people about their morning routines? The attack was personal now, and completely uncalled for. Kat had built her career on thoughtful interviews, meaningful conversations, and genuine connection with her audience. She had covered serious news, raised awareness for countless causes, and always maintained the highest standards of journalism. My contribution, Meghan, is giving people a voice. All people. Not just the ones I consider sophisticated enough to understand me. I've spent my career listening to others, amplifying important messages, and treating every single person who sits in that chair with dignity and respect. Something you seem incapable of doing in return? Dignity and respect for daytime television viewers who probably can't even pronounce half the words in my literacy curriculum. Please, let's not pretend this audience is engaging with complex social issues. They're here for entertainment and celebrity culture. Kat stood up now, her composure finally cracking. How dare you? How dare you sit in my studio and dismiss millions of people you've never met? You don't know anything about our viewers. You don't know their stories, their struggles, their intelligence, or their hearts. You've revealed more about your character in the last 10 minutes than any charity work ever could. My character? At least I'm honest about the reality of media and audience demographics, instead of pretending that morning television is some kind of high-minded journalism. You're deluding yourself if you think otherwise. The only delusion here, Meghan, is thinking that your title gives you the right to treat people like they're beneath you. Every viewer who tuned in today deserved better than this display of arrogance and contempt. Meghan's face twisted with anger. Arrogance? You want to talk about arrogance? The arrogance is thinking that someone of my stature should have to justify herself to you or to an audience that wouldn't understand the complexities of my work anyway. Someone of your stature? Kat's voice rose for the first time. Your stature means nothing if you can't show basic human kindness. That final comment struck something deep in Meghan, and her composure completely shattered. Her voice became a snarl as she pointed an accusatory finger directly at Kat. Don't you dare lecture me about kindness. You have no idea what real sacrifice looks like. You sit here in your comfortable little bubble, asking softball questions and pretending to care about causes you probably forget about the moment the cameras stop rolling. Kat's eyes blazed. At least I don't forget about basic decency the moment I sit down. This conversation was supposed to be about helping children learn to read, Meghan. Instead, you've turned it into an attack on everyone and everything connected to this show. Because this show represents everything that's wrong with media today. Superficial, pandering, designed to make mediocre people feel good about themselves, instead of challenging them to think critically or engage with real issues. The only superficial thing here is your attitude. You've shown no genuine passion for the cause you came to discuss. All you've done is demonstrate how little you think of the people you claim to serve. Meghan's face contorted with rage. I think you need to remember who you're talking to, Kat. I didn't have to come here today. I chose to give your little show the benefit of my presence, and this is how you repay me? With accusations and disrespect? Your presence? Meghan, you're a guest, not royalty, doing us a favor. And the only disrespect in this studio is coming from you, not royalty. The words came out like venom. I think you're forgetting that I actually am connected to royalty, which is more than anyone else who has ever sat in that chair can say. Maybe you should show a little more appreciation for the status that brings to your program. Kat's mouth fell open at the sheer audacity of the statement. Are you seriously pulling rank on me? Using a title to try to intimidate me into accepting your appalling behavior? I'm reminding you of reality, Kat. There are hierarchies in this world, and you would do well to remember where you fit in them. The studio was electric with tension. Every crew member was transfixed by what they were witnessing. This had gone far beyond a difficult interview into something truly unprecedented. The only hierarchy I recognize in this studio is one based on respect and human decency, and by that measure, you're at the very bottom right now. Meghan's eyes flashed dangerously. You know what, Kat? This is exactly why I left this country in the first place. The small-mindedness, the inability to recognize excellence when it's right in front of you, the petty jealousy disguised as moral superiority. Petty jealousy? Of what exactly? Your ability to insult hardworking people? Your talent for turning a charity discussion into a personal attack? If that's excellence, I'll happily remain small-minded. You'll remain small-minded because that's all you're capable of. That's all this entire production is capable of. Second-rate television for second-rate people. Kat had heard enough. Her voice dropped to a deadly calm. That's it. I'm done. You came here supposedly to talk about helping children, but all you've done is show everyone watching exactly who you really are underneath all the public relations and carefully crafted image. Who I really am. I'm someone who doesn't settle for mediocrity. I'm someone who demands excellence and won't apologize for having standards higher than whatever passes for quality on morning television. Your standards? Your standards apparently don't include treating people with basic courtesy. They don't include honoring the commitment you made when you agreed to this interview, and they certainly don't include any genuine care for the children you claim to be helping. Meghan stepped closer to Kat, her voice dropping to a menacing whisper that the microphone still picked up clearly. Let me tell you something, Kat. I could destroy this pathetic little show with a single phone call. I have connections you can't even imagine. People in positions of real power who understand my value and would be appalled at how I've been treated here today. The threat hung in the air like poison. Kat's face went white, not with fear, but with pure fury at the naked attempt at intimidation. Are you threatening me? Are you actually standing in my studio, on live television, threatening to use your connections to hurt my career because I wouldn't let you insult our viewers? I'm simply pointing out that actions have consequences, and treating someone of my importance with such disrespect will have consequences. That was the moment, the 41-second mark that would define everything that came next. Kat's voice became ice cold, every word deliberate and clear. Get out. Get out of my studio right now. Excuse me? You heard me perfectly. This interview is over. You've shown nothing but contempt for our show, our viewers, and basic human decency. And now you're making threats. Security will escort you out. Meghan's face went purple with rage. You cannot dismiss me like some common guest. Do you have any idea who I am? I know exactly who you are. You're someone who thinks a title gives you the right to treat people terribly. You're someone who turns charity work into a platform for personal superiority. And you're someone who just threatened my livelihood because I wouldn't let you get away with it. This is outrageous. I demand an apology. I demand you retract everything you've said and show me the respect I deserve. Kat turned directly to the camera, addressing her audience with quiet dignity. I want to apologize to everyone watching at home. You tuned in expecting to hear about a wonderful literacy program for children, and instead you've had to witness this display of arrogance and hostility. You deserve so much better. Don't you dare turn your back on me, Meghan shrieked, her composure completely gone. I am not finished talking. Yes, you are. Kat's voice was final. Security, please escort our guest from the building. As two security guards appeared at the edge of the set, Meghan's voice reached a fevered pitch. This is a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. You have no idea what you've just done. No idea at all. Kat remained perfectly calm as Meghan was led away, still shouting about lawsuits and consequences and how she would make sure everyone knew about this treatment. The studio fell silent, except for the click of expensive heels on the floor, growing fainter and fainter. Kat turned back to the camera, her professionalism intact despite everything she had just endured. Well, that certainly wasn't what any of us expected this morning. When we come back after the break, we'll be joined by a group of wonderful teachers from Manchester who are doing incredible work with reading programs in their schools. People who truly understand what service and humility look like.